going to start with,
So,
how about Katie?
I got your number back because I'm going to say
Can we start with you for noticing, and we'll just share around the room.
Okay, I noticed that you had the kids work on social goals, which I thought was really neat. It's something I've never thought of. That was really neat. I like that. I'm going to try it in my classroom.
Good.
Michelle?
I noticed that we're still working on the same concepts that of course we're in the basis. And it's still probably repeating others.
I noticed that the reading material that you used, every example was well-defined, organized, well thought out, and I haven't under the preposition very good. So, well thought, that's nice.
I noticed the comfortable groupings and the shared responsibilities for all learners.
I noticed that you mixed us up, so we had to work with different people on that, and I thought that was pretty good.
I noticed the gradual release. Very intentional.
I noticed that the text you selected was probably maybe a little below their reading levels, so that they would be successful and not struggle with the reading and understand what you can teach them that way.
I noticed the multiple passages. One builds independence, but also that collaboration piece. And then I also think, I noticed it's exposure to a lot of content information.
Okay, so now let's just open it up, whoever would like to. You can share noticing with a wonder. So, some wonderings out.
I wonder if you always go through all the goals every day, like, go for this.
Yes, and I was just talking about that with Stephanie. My original plan was to have them on the whiteboard here, so I have the date and then content, language, and social goals. And then I do put just a brief thing there. So our content goal for today would have been text structure, and the language goal was the 5 types, and using those words that are in the chart. And then, usually the social goal is for the whole week. I found that's the easiest since I'm new to middle school and new to having to list the goals like that. So I've been sticking with it for a week, and then every day I can touch on it quickly. And then by having it written on the board, I come back to it quickly. And then I also have started where the kids actually write them down. So I give them a calendar, and then they have the weekly goal up at the top. And then down here, every day they write down their content goal and their vocabulary goal. So then we have it in there. Then they can pull those out. All right, what do you know? What do you remember about those vocabulary words? Let's be intentional about using them in our reading and writing and speaking. The social goal that we had last week was respect. We have 8 that we're working on within our building. They call it We Are Kent City, and courage is what we're working on this week. We've done work ethics, respect, responsibility, honesty, pride, a few others. Yeah, so there's 8 of them that as a building we're working on.
So let's just go just a little bit deeper with being clear. I mean, learning goals, learning targets, vocabulary, social. What are you noticing in terms of being intentional around that every day?
It helps to give me more focus with that. And at the beginning of the year, when it was just new to me, and I didn't always write it on the board and things like that, I wasn't always so intentional about it. And now that I'm getting into the pattern, and I've noticed what other people have done and how they list it on their board, and also I redid my lesson plan, so it's listed right at the top of there. I can start out the hour by talking about that, and I usually touch back to them periodically during the hour, and then at the end of the hour, after they put their binders away, we wrap up again by talking about those specific goals. So I'm much more intentional about it when I have them listed. And I'm noticing the kids use the vocabulary a lot more when you say, okay, this is the language you need to use. I'm expecting to hear this. They're much more intentional about it as well.
Isn't that interesting? The clarity of purpose builds in clarity of purpose for you and your students. And it makes it clear on what they're learning. They even have a visual reminder.
Yeah.
Thank you. So other wonderings, noticings with wonderings? Judy?
I'm always wondering, where do you get your small informational articles that you use today? What's your source?
The volcano one, the picture of the book is down there on the bottom cover, or bottom of that first page. I got that at Barnes & Noble, and I forget now. I think it's True Life Series. I was going to bring them in, and I forgot. True Life Series. It was recommended in the 5th grade MESA units, and so I thought, there we go, good. So I went out and bought 5 copies of earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, floods, and another one. And I did end up picking up that one, and when I went back about 2 weeks ago, because first I did this with my reading class, and I only had about 13 students. So then I just got 5 books, 5 copies, and we just shared them. But now that I have to use it with 90 students, I went back and got some more from that series, and some of them are about cause and effect type things that we're going to have to do with our informational text with oil spills and climate change and things like that. But then others are about just mammals and birds and rainforests and other just general topics. But I really do like that series. The other ones in the back, I just Googled cause and effect, Googled chronological order, and just happened to find a few things in there.
Do you match it to your social studies for grade level?
I would like to.
Science?
And I had requested that. I'm like, can you send me your curriculum map or something? And so I don't have that yet, but I'm noticing the kids are like, hey, we were studying volcanoes. And I'm like, oh, good.
It's so
And-
hard to get the literature to match what you're trying to teach. You can duplicate.
Right.
That's where I find the hard
Right.
part to get. You can get certain ones, but you can't get all of them.
Right. And I wanted to try and tie that in, and it's my first year doing middle school, and so that's a hope later, maybe for next year, to have more intentional connections to what they are learning in science and social studies, so we can even pull some passages from their books that they're using and notice these types of things. But that was something that we did talk about when we're looking for these structures. It's not just going to help us now, it's going to help you in science class and social studies class. So keep looking for these things, and it helps your comprehension when you're noticing them, so you can change how you're reading. Because that was our entrance slip for yesterday. I was telling that table. This one, they had 20 minutes to read, so it was quite an extensive exit slip. But then yesterday when they came in, it was just one question. What are the structures, because they get them mixed up as well. And that's why I intentionally put them next to each other here, so we could talk about that several days in a row. But what are the 5 text structures, and see if you can list some of them before you look in your binder. And then how does noticing these things, how do you change, what did I say the question was?
How does it help you?
Yeah.
How does
I'm drawing a
reader
blank.
address their thinking and
Yes, there it is. Yes, how do readers adjust their thinking when they notice these text structures so they can better comprehend?